National Academies of Science. Wrote Science Teachers Learning, Enhancing Opportunities, Creating Supportive Contexts. So we're going to take a deeper dive into this idea of supportive context for teacher learning. So first we start with this smaller thing that has my cursor already in, right? And the teacher themselves is the center of this idea, right? The smallest unit in the classroom. Okay, and then outside of them, they have obviously the school influences, and the school can do a bunch of things. They can have staffing and teacher assignment policies, which can change how teachers fit into their criteria. If teachers are placed in places where they have certifications and expertise, then they are more able to teach content, especially science, in a way that is more meaningful and deep because of that background knowledge. Also, schools are professional community. Teachers can come and work together in what we like to call PLCs. A lot of times in education, professional learning committees, they can come together to create and work together to create curriculum and assessments and lessons and things that can help their students in a deeper way to get ideas off of, to share the load, to do more together than they can apart. And then there's also should be science specialists, people that aren't so sure about certain science concepts can know who to go to ask for more detailed information explanation. This is especially true at elementary schools, where many of the elementary teachers are generalized to a bunch of information and don't have the expertise in science. They do a good job, but they have questions, they don't understand something very well, they know who they can go to, their science specialist. There should also be coaching at every school, somebody that's set aside to help with instructional practices, like classroom management or other skills that teachers need help with just to move forward and build and grow. That person is supportive and not an evaluative role, but just wants to help the teacher be better for the students. Having partnerships with other schools or with people in the community can be largely helpful. Partnerships with museums or scientists in the area or other discovery places that they can be able to build. One thing that popped to my mind about partnerships is at our school we welcome Thanksgiving Point, their science team, to come and talk about earthquakes, and they do a really good job demonstrating it, and it's just another outside knowledge base for our students to see it in action. Curriculum is at school level typically. Principals as well have a big obligation to be supportive and to have the ability to encourage teachers and to help teachers to form these other things like professional learning committees, to find science specialists that are kind of the lead in the school level. And then teachers leaders are huge at each of the different levels that we'll see here of organization. Teacher leaders are teachers who take charge in either formal ways in administration or coaches or other things, or they can be informal ways, just teachers who go out of their way to build these professional learning environments for teachers to encourage collaboration and culture in which science is taught and a deeper understanding. Then we move to the next layer, the district. Right here you got district professional networks. Teachers from different schools should be able to communicate that teach the same subject. So once again, it's that professional learning community building out, right? We can get more help. So teachers can bounce ideas off each other at a large scale. What works for you? What do you do for this? Get either ideas and improve their teaching. There also should be science specialists just at the school level, but at a district level, somebody at the district should be comfortable enough to answer the science questions of teachers to be able to find the information to help them move forward. There should be coaching, just like partnerships, right? Just like at the level of teachers, talked about that. Teacher evaluation policies should be a way to help teachers improve and not feel, for the lack of a better word, like a pony show. Like, you should have to be your best lesson, right? Don't make it really A lot of times, at least for me, as evaluations occur, we try to show the best case scenario. We pick our best class for them to see. And in actuality, if it was more about how we can help teachers improve by evaluating them in a real case scenario and not high stakes, but in a way that is meaningful, they can move forward. The coherent instructional guidance, right? So that would be the policies and materials. If the district-wide has policies and materials, it'll make district-wide teaching more similar in some ways that are good, that they know what's being taught, some ideas on how it's being taught, that it is more pointed in the direction that they want. It can be deeper that way and more meaningful. And once again, teachers, leaders at the administrative level are huge in advocating for teachers to help teachers, and from the teacher's point of view, build forward, improve, right, if they have those teacher leaders to help guide. And then at state level, it's once again professional networks, like having science groups that you're a part of as a teacher, right? Coherent instructional guidance, like the state standards, are written in a way that makes sense, that they're worthwhile, that there's not too much there to overwhelm teachers. And then also teacher leaders, people at the state level, in educational decisions should include teachers, because teachers are one of the policy holders and policy stakeholders in that conversation. Now, one of the questions that I always think of is, well, what if teachers come in and they don't necessarily have the information they need? How would you best do that? We have professional development, which is where teachers can continue to learn and to improve. And I've always wondered what makes good professional development, especially as of today. As an 8th grade science teacher in Provo School District, we had a professional development all about AVID for roughly 6.5 hours today, and we have another 8 hours tomorrow. So a lot of time, obviously money, is spent on this. So how can we make it good, right? If they quantify the current spending, right? If it actually, can get teacher professional growth, if they spend the money, put the effort forward, that's a huge part of it, right? If they capitalize on the mandates and growing investments and standards, right? As new standards come forward, like the next generation, that's the NGSS. NGSS is the next generation science standards. Standards are coming forward, trying to push the idea of standards should be science, and the standards of science should be something that has students do science to understand practices and policies behind what makes a true scientist, not just you should learn this and this and this, but the skills behind it. Sometimes I call them cross-cutting concepts is one part of it. Then you have engineering practices, things that kind of go between all of sciences, and those basic skills of science literacy are there. And then you have leverage expert support, right? So your expert teacher you should leverage them to have them help teach this and share their instructional content, how they do things, support growth throughout a teacher's career, right? As teachers go forward, they should be compensated as they learn and improve, that there's career paths open for them in administration to be teacher leaders, to be the things that they need to be, kind of working from the inside out, can be good in that way to promote from within. And right, if we can overhaul these legacy policies and make strategic trade-offs, right? Why do we do what we do? Is it just because we've always done it that way? Is there a better way to do it? Right, looking at the research to figure out what is a great way to do things is often the way to teach.